They certainly are, and they certainly feel like they're a contender to make a deep run. They'll have to get by the Dallas Stars coming up in round number 1. They took 2 of 3 from Dallas in the regular season, outscoring them 11-9. Look at the shots per game. Big discrepancy there. The Flames averaged about 10 more shots in the regular season in those 3 matchups. We talked all year long about this Flames team and one of the top teams in the regular season, but when we talked about Calgary, we also said they're kind of built for the postseason. Do you still feel that way?
Absolutely. I mean, they're big, they're gnarly, they're skilled, with probably the best line in the National Hockey League. All 3 guys played 82 games. They all bring a little different dimension. Yeah, you got Tkachuk, who can score goals, but he also brings that sandpaper, that grit that you need come playoff time, and the skill of Gaudreau and Lindholm. That line is fantastic. They have depth. Let's not forget, this is the time of year why you added a Blake Coleman. He's won back-to-back cups. He's a guy that is a real thorn in the opposition side and can also chip in with big goals. This Calgary team's loaded for bear. Now, it's not a question mark, but can that core 6 of defensemen get the job done as the playoffs get stronger? I mean, they're good collectively. They don't have an ace, a stud, a number 1. But collectively, as a group, they play real well together. And yes, they play very physical, which you love to see in the playoffs, because we know the ice shrinks a little bit come playoff time.
I agree. I think that Daryl has done a masterful job right from the outset, changing the approach to playing, changing the approach to being professional, to conditioning, to playing on both sides of the puck. And by the way, some of the moves that you mentioned in the offseason, the subtle ones, like getting Goodbranson with Jam, like getting Zadorov with Jam, like getting Blake Coleman, who won in Tampa, that now aids Matthew Tkachuk and Milan Lucic to not feel like they're the only guys that are playing with that jam. And oh, by the way, it's now been infectious in the group. You look at the emergence of Shillington, who just scored that goal. All their forwards are playing harder. And the best part for me about the top line, yes, all games 82 played, but they're almost a collective plus 180. That's incredible.
You talk about buying into a 200-foot system.
Totally, absolutely. And Daryl just sits back there now and he's like, guys, I told you. So when I look at all the teams in the league, especially the great teams like Florida and Colorado that had incredible years, and we can give a lot of credit to the teams in the East, 8 of them, all 8 playoff teams over 100 points. No team for me has been as consistent as Daryl Sutter's Calgary Flames. 11 shutouts for that team as well. I love what they're doing.
Gaudreau.
Great.
Magical year.
Yeah.
A career type of season. He's got to do it in the playoffs. I'm not saying he has to put up 2 points a night, but he has to make sure he has an impact. We haven't seen that the last few playoff years from him. I expect he will, with the emergence of Lindholm, who still flies under the radar, such a great 200-foot player. And we know Tkachuk's going to bring it every night, but Gaudreau has to, have that impact, that dynamic kind of offensive flair some nights. Not every night, because they've got a nice balanced hockey club. And I agree with you, Weeksy. Daryl Sutter is the right guy behind the bench for this group of Flames, because he's won Stanley Cups. Yeah. He knows what it takes, and he's going to push all the right buttons. This is a dangerous hockey club come playoff time.
Yeah. Hey, Dallas fans are over there going, hey, we got a pretty good top line in our own right, with Jason Robertson.
No question.
And the likes of Joe Pavelski, who's having a career year, and Rope Hintz. So what do you make of that top line?
Money.
What do you need to see more of from Dallas if they want to make a challenge?
That top line's money. You know what you're getting from them shift to shift. If you're Rick Bowness, who's done a nice job with this group, their competitiveness, you see their production rates, 45.1. It's called 45%.
Is that good or is that bad?
That's incredible. 45%.
Might not be good for them.
But what about the
playoff time?
The rest of the team?
Now, the good thing for them is Tyler Seguin's had a good year, especially after some major injuries. He's had a good year, and they also have Jamie Benn, their captain. I think the time of year for Jamie Benn's style of game is the postseason. That translates very well. He's healthy, he's big and skilled and powerful. He's got that nastiness and that jam to his game that he can bring to the table. And by the way, in the event that those guys, being Seguin and Jamie Benn, elevate and play the way they're capable, I think it makes his team more of a difficult opponent than some people might believe. Now, if it's all predicated on the first line scoring, the way it has been in the regular season, I think it's going to be tough for them to get through Calgary.
Going to be tough for the Stars. I agree with you 100% on Jamie Benn. Look, where he's at in his career, maybe not the player he was a few years ago, But come playoff time, guys like him shine. Guys like him are able to raise their level of play, and he's going to be a physical force, and he's going to have to be against the big, burly Calgary Flames team. And if you look at the back end, they have Heiskanen and Klingberg that are difference makers, guys that can really, obviously bring some offense and maybe throw a wrinkle into Calgary Flames as far as the dominance we think. I do think Calgary is the much deeper, better team, but Dallas has that top line they're rolling. Will they win a game or two for them? Possibly. They're going to need their depth scoring as well to chip in, and that might be just Klingberg and Heiskanen chipping in from the back end as well.